Hi, everyone. This is Miley Martin from Student Activities at Fresno City College with another FCC Spotlight. February is Black History Month, and joining me today is Rodney Murphy, who is the General Counselor and Umoja Community Program Coordinator at FCC. So let's welcome Rodney Murphy. Hey, Rodney.
Hello, hello. Happy to be.
You, yeah, Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Yes, Happy New Year. Good to see you also, Molly.
Yeah, great. We got a nice color thing going here for Black History Month. Love it.
Yeah, I got my FCC pin here, and then I have the red, black, and green. The black is for the African people, the green is for the land, and the red is for the bloodshed. And then we have our Umoja pin here. So I'm all into the African History Month.
You are decked out. You're decked out. So, Rodney, I have to tell you, I see you on campus a lot. We haven't connected. I don't know your story or whatever, but I was interested to know that you are an FCC alum, Fresno State alum, and you're also born and raised here in Fresno, West Fresno. So, um, tell me a little bit more about what inspired you to come back to FCC to become the leader you are now on campus.
So, it's fitting that you asked me about what inspired me to come back to FCC because I think that, pioneers and those that came before me served as an inspiration. And so, growing up in West Fresno, it was challenging, growing up in West Fresno. It's like any other inner city in America. And so there was a lot of challenges. And I succumbed to some of those challenges at a young age. But I remember um, I had Dottie Smith as my sixth grade principal, and I remember the first day I got to her campus, and I got into a scuffle, and I remember how she was and how she told us our responsibilities, and I was 11 years old, and that always stayed in the back of my mind. And so, later on in life, I decided to come back to school, and I went to Fresno City College and I met Kahinde Sawazi, which is, I call him Baba Sawazi, and I took an African Studies class, and he taught me about the history of African American people. And I learned things in that class that I didn't know about myself or my people, because everything I had learned up to that point was traditional education material. And so once I learned that, about the slave Atlantic trade system and how we as a people overcame a lot of those things and how we invented so many things. And I learned about some of the great things my people did. And so it inspired me to continue pursuing my education at Fresno City College. And so I ended up completing my African Studies degree there and my business degree there and transferred to Fresno State.
Oh, wonderful. So, being that February is Black History Month, and this is a time when our nation celebrates the achievements of many African Americans, as the General Counselor and Umoja Program Coordinator here at Fresno City College, I want to hear what this month means to you personally.
This month is, it signifies the strength, the resilience, the accomplishments of African American people. Um, I believe that Black people should be celebrated all year round. We should celebrate ourselves as well as others. Everyone should celebrate their culture and their heritage as much as they can. This month has a significant meaning to me because of the folks that thought about this month. W.E.B. Du Bois and Carter G. Woodson thought about how we can highlight the achievements and accomplishments of Black people so we can really celebrate them. And during this month, I think back to all the folks that paved the way for me, uh, many of who worked at Fresno City College. I mentioned Kahinde Sawazi and Dottie Smith, but you have, Bill Riddlespringer, and you have Miss Simba, and those that are still around, Mr. Ken Simeon and Mr. Robert Fox. And so a lot of these folks that came before me really paved the way. And then we always celebrate our national heroes, right? Malcolm X and, Oprah Winfrey and the late, great Cicely Tyson and the late, great Hank Aaron. And
Yeah.
so we always gonna keep those folks in mind because they have had a tremendous impact on Black people and Black culture. But I always like to also be reminded and remind folks of our local level here in Fresno, right? Those athletes like Bruce Bowen and Tim McDonald and Ricky Manning and Ickey Woods, the sports commentators like Chris Haynes that works for Yahoo and ESPN and Turner Sports right now. I like to think of the educators, Miss Ann Johnson and Miss Dottie Smith. That was two of the first Black female principals in Fresno, right? And then you want to think about the businesses. Graves Upholstery's been around for over 60 years. Chef Paul is renowned in the food industry, and then you have entrepreneurs like Terrence Frazier and and all of these folks are continuing those legacies right here on a local level. And so I like to always reminisce about what, Black folks have done here in Fresno and in the Central Valley on a local level, because we have some tremendous folks that come from here. Audra McDonald, graduate of Roosevelt, right? Yeah, and I think we forget to celebrate our local heritage. And so I would like to see us remember to celebrate those that have had a more direct impact on where we are as a people.
So important, so important. So I'm curious, during your youth and into your college years, Rodney, was there a prominent individual that inspired you to go into higher education and mentoring men of color? Anyone in particular that just really, I mean, you mentioned Dottie Smith, of course, huge impact on a lot of us here at Fresno City College. But is there a couple
You
people
know,
that,
Kahinde Sawazi, Baba Sawazi probably had the hugest impact on me. I remember one time he told me after the class ended, after the he called me back into the classroom and he said, "Murphy, I want to talk to you." And so we talked. He said, I understand everything you went through. I can relate to it. He had knew that, I had got into some trouble as a youth, and he knew a little bit about me. I guess he asked in the community. But he was the first person that told me about my potential.
mm,
He said, "You have the potential to really be a difference maker." He compared me and I thought at the time, he said, Malcolm X got in trouble with the prison. And he said, "You got into some trouble." And he said, "Look at what he did." And he said, "I'm going to charge you to try to be that great, to try to overcome everything." And he gave me a charge, and he gave me a charge to be a leader. And he specifically wanted me to lead Black men. And his reason was because he told me the family system is the most important institution to anyone. He said no institution is more important than the family. And he said it starts at the head, which is with the male. And he said if we can't get our Black men right, we'll never get our culture and our communities right. And so that was his charge. And I remember that, and it stuck in the back of my head. Now, of course, I went to school and I went to Craig School of Business and came out and I started a solar company. And I'm like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Somehow I found my way back to the behavioral field, though, when I got my master's in counseling and found myself working with all people that were disadvantaged. And so then when I was hired at the Simba and Idili coordinator, and I was a former Simba student, I said, this is where I need to pour all my passion, my efforts, my talent, and everything I got into this because I was charged with this. This is how it started for me. And so because it started for me as a Simba student, and if I was blessed to get back to be in that position, then it was meant for me to be doing what I'm doing now.
oh, that's beautiful. I agree. I think right now, especially with what we're dealing with, students need encouragement. I mean, it takes hearing, you're going to be okay, you can do this. Everyone needs to be encouraged before they can really blossom and grow. So I think, you mentioned that you are part of Simba. Can you share a little bit more about the Emoja, your coordinator for the Emoja program and the Simba program at FCC? How can students get involved and what exactly, is this a mentoring program, both programs? What exactly are these programs?
So the Umoja community is a statewide organization. It's a sort of a statewide umbrella. We're in about 85 of the 115 community colleges. So many campuses have a Umoja community. When I became coordinator, I formed a partnership with Umoja community, and we eventually got an MOU completed. And so we get a lot of support from the Umoja community on a statewide level to help the advancement of our students. The programs are geared for African American students, but we obviously don't deny any students. If a student wants to be a part of our program and wants to learn about our culture, we welcome them with open arms, first of all. Now, Simba and Idili started at Fresno City College. And, and Mr. Tawazi started Simba in 2004. And Simba stands for Strengthening Young Men by Academic Achievement.
Okay.
So, and back in those days, 2004, there was a lot of violence going on, and a lot of Black male were succumbing to violence. And Sawazi said that, he wanted to start a program specifically for Black male students. And so he did. And I came to Fresno City College, and I caught sort of the tail end of the Simba program because I had already got to advanced English. And so the requirements is that you need help in English. But I was able to participate in some of those functions. Now, Idili was started by Baba Walter Brooks back in 1974. According to Mr. Brooks, Idili is the first program of its kind in the state. And I've sort of did the research, and he's very accurate. So the Umoja community model actually started in 2008, but a lot of those coordinators that are involved with Umoja let me know that they came to Fresno City College in the 70s to learn their model from Walter Brooks. So Idili has a rich history. Simba has a very rich history. And so Simba and Idili are Fresno City College's specific program started by our pioneers, Kahinde Sawazi, Walter Brooks. And the Umoja community is an umbrella organization that we partner with. And so together, our goal is to help increase the persistence, retention, and graduation rates for African American students because they underperform at a lower clip than any other student. And this is nationwide. So we've been trying a lot of things over the years. So we want to try tailor-made services directed towards these students to help increase their educational outcomes and also make them become thriving and productive citizens.
Wow, that's a great program. You've got your Emoja background, so you shared Emoja means unity, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Emoji means unity. And, there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so we feel that unity amongst everyone, that togetherness will help our students go far.
Great, great. Love that. That's a great saying. I've read that before, so that's a good one. I always say Fresno City College is a melting pot of, it's just a melting pot of diversity. I love the campus. There's so much history here. What would you like to see more of on campus and in our programming to unite students, to be more inclusive? What would you personally like to see more of? What should we be doing?
We have to make the learning environment fun and inviting. right? Everyone's so serious now, and we know that the numbers are not as good as they need to be, and our approaches are improving, our equity approaches and some of the programming that we offer. But you know, we have to get back to making learning fun, and we have to make it inviting, and we have to make students feel comfortable. So the more we can allow students to learn, but learn in a fun way, integrate some out of the box activities into the classroom environment, make the student feel like they're invited into the classroom and everyone cares. And then we have to move in the ethics of love. And what I mean by that is everyone has to not love a student the way, you know, you may love your child or you may love your spouse, but you want to have a love for our students' academic success. You have to love what they love. If they want to become a scientist, you have to love it, right? If
Right.
you want to become an activities director, you have to love it, right? You have to be with them. We have to move with the ethics of love, and we have to realize that on our campus, we are a melting pot, a lot of diversity, but we have way more in common than we do have differences,
Yeah.
right? And I think we need to start focusing on those commonalities and not so much on our differences, right? We all
Right.
have a common goal. We all want to be a great college. We all want our students to do very well. We all want to see students achieve because all students want a good life, and everyone strives for a good life, right? And
Right.
so we have to realize that we have much more in common than we have in differences. We need to embrace those commonalities moving forward on our campus and have a togetherness. And I think that Fresno City College is a great institution. It's the second community college in the nation. It's been around for over 100 years. Um, it's it's grown tremendously here in the Central Valley. It has you know a big impact on everything going on in the valley, right? We have the campus coming over in West Fresno coming up, and we want to make that a shiny star in the Black community.
Right.
And to do that, I think we all just have to know that we have much more in common. We need to celebrate our commonalities and quit highlighting our differences so much.
I agree. Well said. Very, very well said. So, Rodney, in closing for today, is there anything else you want to share for Black History Month?
Yeah, I just, during, it would be remiss if I didn't bring up COVID-19, um, at this time and how it's impacting everyone and Black History Month. I just want to say part of the celebration of this month needs to follow the guideline. I know, everyone wants to celebrate, but part of our responsibility as a people, or as when God charges you with something, sometimes you have to accept the charge and listen. And so celebrate our Black people, celebrate Black History Month. Everyone have fun celebrating, but remember to be safe during this time. COVID-19 has disproportionately impacted a lot of Black people that don't have accessibility to testing sites and testing centers, and don't have accessibility to healthcare, and are struggling financially. And so, there's been a lot of successful Black folks, from Tyler Perry to Oprah Winfrey to Shaquille O'Neal and others, and even on the local level, stepping up to help. So for this Black History Month, remember to help your neighbor, remember to help your relative and your friend that may be struggling with COVID-19, because part of celebrating our culture and celebrating Black History Month is also celebrating our resolve and our ability to help our fellow man or fellow woman out. And so my message is for this month, do a good deed and help your neighbor or help someone that needs that help during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, Rodney, thank you very much for sharing your personal journey and your views on Black History Month. Always great to see you. Stay safe, and until we meet on campus, I'll see you
Yes,
later.
Molly, always great to see you, and you guys keep up that good work over there, and always, always a pleasure.
Always. Thank you so much.
All right,
Bye.
you take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right.